Nimepanda milima ona mabonde, nimepita misitu na nyika, kaogelea kwenye mito na bahari, aoko, aoko, aoko. Nimekutana vipusa wenye nyuso zinazong'aa, wenye meno maziwa, wenye macho ngololi, wenye mwanya mdomoni, aoko, aoko, aoko. Nimetembea sijamuona msichana kama aoko, aoko. Nimetembea sijamuona msichana kama aoko. Uko wapi wewe? Nimetembea sijamuona msichana kama aoko. Hey! Aoko! O mwana mer, o mwana maile, chipenzi o mwana shinubuzwa, o mwana swege, o mwana yonyene. Aoko, aoko. Nimetembea sijamuona msichana kama aoko, aoko. Nimetembea sijamuona msichana kama aoko. Hey! Aoko, o mwana mer, o mwana mayeye, chipenzi o mwana shinubuzwa, o mwana sege, o mwana yonyene. Aoko, aoko. Nimetembea sijamuona msichana kama aoko, aoko. Nimetembea sijamuona msichana kama aoko. Uko wapi wewe? Nimetembea sijamuona msichana kama aoko, aoko. Nimetembea sijamuona msichana kama aoko, aoko.
Yeah.
Close. Hata watu wako studio hataki kupiga makofi. Wamekataa kupiga makofi, wako kwa kamera zao. Anyway, as you can see, we have an entire band right here with us. This is Jabali Afrika. When I tell you guys that they are Grammy nominated, Grammy nominees don't just happen. They do not just happen. As you have seen, they deserve it. They are really good at what they do, and they have been in this game for more than 25 years. They're going to tell me the exact years they've been in this game, but I know for sure that it is more than 25 years in the game. Jabali Afrika. I am excited. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
If you can just begin by you guys introducing yourself, telling us your individual names.
Okay, I'm going to start here. My name is Justo Asikoye. Many people call me Juice. Yeah.
All right.
My names are Collins Ondiegi.
AKA Kolo. Those two.
Next.
Yeah, my name is Yawezekana Strong, musician from Culture Hub.
And my name is Jose Kasikoe. Some call me Muzi Wananjero, Eki. All of them are my names. I'm happy to be here with you again in the morning, Vivian.
Yeah.
Excited. And thank you for wearing that outfit.
We are more than pleased to have you on the show. We are absolutely more than pleased to have you here with us. I've had Asikoye and Asikoye, so you're brothers.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Oh, the two of you are brothers?
Yeah.
Lovely. So it's in the genes.
It's in there.
Were you the first ones in the family to get into music, or you're just from a musical family?
Actually, my dad
his music. He's a musician, but he's a minister too, church minister. And we started in the choir. When I can remember, I used to sing soprano. Can you believe it?
You used to sing
soprano.
Your voice had not yet broken.
I was like 8 years old.
Yeah, of course.
But right now, I'm in there. I'm in between. Yes.
It's amazing. Yes. If you can just tell us how the band came to be, because I understand you used to play at the Kenya National Theatre. If you can just tell me how the band came to be.
Chairman.
You're the chairman.
The band started February 12, 1993 at the Kenya National Theatre, right across, and we used to perform with the Kenya National Theatre dance troupe, and us guys used to be the music department in there. And then we were fired on that day. You were fired? Yes, and then Jabali started that day. We were fired. What did you do? It was just a little, because of it was more our direction musically. We did, and also there was a little jealousies as usual. Okay. That happened between, the music side was growing. Whatever we were doing in Jabali was becoming more popular than the dance side. So, and then we were freelancers in Nairobi. So at that time, showbiz was not paying enough, I'll say, but that freelancing was not, the management at Kenya National Theatre was not comfortable with us performing with other groups and yet still performing at the Kenya National Theatre. Okay. So they showed us the door, and then we decided, because we didn't want to be locked in a box, and we wanted to express ourselves artistically the way we did with the same things we were doing in Jabali. So we parted ways that day. Right behind here, the parking lot. Yeah. Where you see the parking lot, there used to be a big tree, So, and from there, we got an inspiration of calling ourselves a rock, the Rock of Africa, Jabali Afrika, because that's where we used to rehearse, and that's the only space we had. So we are not very far from where Jabali Afrika started. So we are kind of like meters, or is it meters? Yeah, it's just here. Exactly. Yeah. And so it was a blessing in disguise, them getting to kick you out, because now we have this this amazing group that is representing us outside Africa. And if I may just talk to Kolo, how has it been being part of Jabali Afrika for you?
It has been amazing, and being part of Jabali, joining Jabali later on after it started, because when it started I was still small, and now singing with them is an amazing experience.
When did you join them?
Now 2 years.
2 years now.
Yeah.
What about you? Uliingia lini, umekuwa vipi kuwork under Jabali?
Hata mimi ni Congolese. Okay. Na tulikutana na Jabali hapa tu National Theatre hapa hivi. Nilikuwa na perform hapo na kina Abaki Simba. Hapo ndio tukakutana na Justo akani-introduce. Tukasonga miaka mingi tunapambana. Sahi tukatoa albums. Sahi tumetoa album 2. Moja ndio tumerelease, nyingine inatarajiwa soon.
Yeah, that is Kings and Queens. Tutaiongelelea.
Okay, can I go real quick about these two guys?
Yes, please.
These guys, especially Collins, when our music was playing, he was this age. Collins is a musician. He's also a professional photographer. He's very good. Actually, he took the picture of the cover of Kings and Queens.
Oh, really?
And Collins, he got inspired, and when I came here from the United States, I set up a studio, Culture Hub. Culture Hub is in Athi River. You're going to be seeing a lot of content from us very soon. And Collins jumped on board, and he's one of the guys that we inspired and the guys that survived. There were like about 10 or 15 people. He survived because they were resilient and they knew what they wanted. He was kind of strong. He's from Congo. I met him at the National Theatre, and I knew he was a little bit suppressed in the band that he was in there. So they put him on the side, and I heard him say, he's from Congo. I told him, play me something. And when he played, I told him, I'm going to support you. He waited for 5 years. He thought I was joking. We shipped everything here.
5 years?
He waited.
Wow,
he waited. Now it's been how many, 10 years? He's got 2 albums, he's got a 3rd one coming out. So that's the story about these guys.
Okay.
There was a bunch of them, about 10, but only 2, 3, 4 survived.
Yeah.
There's Steve G, who's older than us. He's a saxophone player, very good pianist. And there's another one who's this, Sagini, he's not here. And he's going to be here next time.
Okay, good stuff, good stuff. There's something that Josek, you mentioned while you were speaking. You talked about the fact that back then, while you guys were just starting out, music wasn't really paying. You know, you weren't really getting paid from doing music. So right now, if you may just compare from then to now, how is the music industry, especially in Kenya, is it possible for an artist to sustain himself fully by just being a musician? I know that you guys are doing it, but is it possible for Kenyan artists to just sustain themselves totally from music?
Yeah, it's possible. It's better than our days when we started. But we were passion driven. I see there's a lot of, like right now, even the current government is really insisting on this creative economy. And they've seen there's a big potential of creating a big industry and also growing our GDP. So music pays, but the policies have to change. So the best thing that they can ever do for the artists is to make sure the royalty situation is straightened up, because it's a big mess. We know the MCSK, all those CMOs, they're really underpaying musicians. So musicians find that you have a hit song in the public domain, your song is used everywhere. One thing you have to know is, like, when your music is being heard, is making money, but that money doesn't trickle down to the musicians. So they are forced to touring and doing other things on the side. Yes, you cannot tour forever. The pension of a musician is the publishing. You know. So right now, I see a lot of people are living off music, but they are working extra hard to do that. So music is a job like any other job, and I think it's better than our days, but the government needs to step in and straighten up on this CMO madness, because honestly, the CMO madness here is theft. I can tell you right now, we've never gotten even a single cent from any of our music here, from the CMOs here. Yes, zero. Yeah, we don't. When we get our publishing royalty checks come from the global arena, but from Kenya we haven't got even a single cent. And you can't tell me that I don't have music that is out there in the public domain being used and being covered by people. So it's a tragedy for us to show up when a musician is dead. You know, like we have legendary musicians who've done music that is like that. Like we hear this music. This music was composed before we were born. Yeah, it's timeless. Music. It's timeless music. Yeah. And when you look at their families, it's a tragedy. So we just want to urge the government, the fact that this government is dedicated to the creative economy agenda. They should straighten up the CMO madness, because that's what feeds us. When I say it feeds us, because when the music is being heard, it's supposed to be making money. Yeah. Okay. So you can come back to your question. Yes, you can survive off music, and I think it's happening now, but it can become better. Musicians don't need handouts from government. Whatever we create is enough for us to eat for a long time. Yeah, and you see that in other countries, you know, especially you guys, since you've lived in the US. I mean, this is what is happening. Musicians are really living large just from their music. And that can also happen right here, because it's not like we don't have good musicians. There are good artists right here, and the artists whose music is being played all over the place, and that should translate into money. So I get you on that, and I hope that the stakeholders involved should just get to sit down and figure things out so that we can change that. Let's get into Grammys. The Grammys. You were nominated last year in the Grammys. And you attended? Were you the one who attended? Yes, both of us attended. Yeah, both of you attended. You know how big the Grammys are? They're like the pinnacle. They're like it's the biggest stage, if you may agree with me, in the music scene all over the world. So just what was the nomination for, and just how was that experience for you guys? The nomination was in Best Children's Music. First of all, our biggest what do you call it, our breakthrough in America was on a children's music, on a children's program. Same way we are on Vivian's show, Good Morning Kenya, you know. So we appeared on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. Mr. Rogers is, we didn't know he was a legendary figure in the children's music space, family music space. So he sent us some music that we did a rendition of one of his songs. Once we went on air, America blew up, you know? Like once the show went on air, it was all over. And we ended up, the manager that we work with up to now called the station and said, like, I want to book those guys. I want to work with you guys. So 6 months we started like going back and forth, and eventually we signed with the management. So eventually the children's music space is very special to us. So we did an album, Hesabu Moja Mbili, and from one of the songs was picked up in a compilation of 23 artists, children music artists, which was very versatile. It was hip hop, gospel, African, jazz, blues. So this album ended up being nominated for a Grammy. So it was like coming full circle. When I say we are not new to children's music space. Yes. So the song that was on that album was Ahadi Mtoto Mzuri, and it was featuring Ahadi, my son. You know, I didn't know it was going to get to the Grammys, but it got nominated for the Grammys. So, and we were privileged to be amongst one of the few African groups that were nominated for the Grammys that year.
You're actually the first African group to be at the Grammys, the first African group to be, the first Kenyan.
Yeah,
first Kenyan. Okay.
I say so, but Africans have been present. We know what the Grammys mean, number one. Getting nominated means so much, yes, but on the other hand, we don't do these things for the Grammys.
For that.
Yeah, we do it because we have a passion for it, and when you get recognized like that, also, it's a big deal.
It's a plus. Just how was it being in the presence of all these, you know, artists? You know, for an artist to be in the Grammys, they're big artists. They're artists who are really good at what they do. So I can imagine the feeling in that room. I wish I get to the Grammys just to be there, just to sit there in the presence of, it's in the presence of just, I don't know what to call it, excellence. You know, just how was that feeling being in that room?
You know, the feeling was right. The spirit was there. But at the same time, being in the music business for a long time, I told him I was supposed to be here a long time ago. You know what I mean? I was supposed to be here a long time ago. But the thing that I loved about the Grammys, you see that room? Everybody that is in there has been nominated. But at the same time, we're all humble. That room is a humble pie. There's no big heads. You come there with a big head, everybody is equal. From Sean Paul to everybody, Grants Morgan, who else was in there? There was Black Coffee, everybody was in there. So you have to be humble because everybody is good and is respected in their own thing. There's producers, there's filmmakers, there's graphic designers. Everybody that is in that room has been nominated. There's the morning show, the one that you guys see later on, is not the real Grammys. That's commercial. But the real artist for artist is the one that happens in the morning. In the morning, there's like virtuosos, a whole stage, one person playing a, what do you call it, a violin? Or he's all over the place. So it's a room that you have to respect each other. There's no big heads, I'm a big star, I'm more, you gotta sit down. Everybody sits on a small chair, we all sit the same chair. There's no high table, there's no small goal. Because that's you. But once you're in the room, it was a good thing. I was happy, I was among my peers that at least, I felt like at least somebody has appreciated our music after a long time. Sometimes we don't get appreciated back home, but because we love to follow. I hate the catch-up game that Africans have been doing for a long time. We've been always catching up. Then when a phrase has been stolen, like let me say, Jambo Bwana, we start crying, oh, that used to be ours. Where were you to support it when it was still yours? So you wait until a white person starts singing, and then you come out there crying, ah! No, you're supposed to protect that from the beginning. If you even look at YouTube, let me veer off a little bit. YouTube discriminates against Africans. I'm going to repeat it again. I know they're here. They discriminate against us because if you look at what they pay the Americans and what they pay Africans is peanuts.
It's not the same thing?
It's not the same.
Okay. So
we need to come up with, I'm challenging up creators, create our own thing, our own platform that we're going to pay ourselves good, not to wait until it hits America. We don't have even, there's TikTok, which is Chinese, there's Instagram, which is American, there's Facebook, which is American. Where's African? I'm not being racist, but I'm thinking about my people.
Because I didn't know about YouTube, but I know for a platform
it's American. It's in California. So we need to have our own platforms that we can appreciate. Okay. Not to follow what we are. We don't want to follow people. We want to follow ourselves first. It's home first, then the rest will follow.
I get that. I get that. Now I want to wrap up on the Grammy topic. And just like you are a voting member of the Grammys.
He's a voting member too.
As well? Okay.
And then we also have voters from Kenya now.
What does it mean? What does that mean?
To be a voter, what they do is this, is a whole system whereby for you to win a Grammy or to be nominated or something like that, you have to be part and parcel of the decision makers. I like the system because it's the musicians or the creatives who decide who wins and who doesn't win. I remember last year when Burna Boy lost to Vuta, there was a big outcry because Burna Boy had a big song. Yes, it was a big song, but when you look at like how people look at music, the guys who sit down and vote for these things, they are musicians. You have to understand they're musicians. And they're not musicians only in one genre. So you're talking about classical, there's jazz, so it's all those angles. So the musicality level on the guys who vote is very high, So being a member is like first you become a member, and then you basically, when you become a member, you become a voting member. And when the votes come out, first you vote, there's some category you vote for in every category, and then there's a second round. After the nomination, you vote for 10, I think. There are 10 categories, and then there's 3 categories. And then the 3 categories are the final ones. Automatically, is you gotta vote in your category and 2 other categories. And then there's 3, the best album, best new artist, there's like 3 of them that is a must. You have to vote in those 2.
So what do you look at mainly?
What I look at? To me, I look the same thing, the music that, I look at the musicality, of course, and then also I look at like the impact and the message, but mostly I'm a guy who comes from the musicality side. So the music has to sound, I have to look at originality and all that kind of stuff. So being a voting member is a plus, but you cannot also understand how the system works if you don't join the system. I remember even, was it last year, the Grammys were in Kenya. And the CEO said, and actually told people, you have to be a part of this situation for you to make a decision in that situation. So I'll end by saying, you have to get in and be a member, and it's very easy to be a member. It's not only for musicians. That's one thing we forget. A journalist like you can be a voting member. If you're a music journalist, you can be a voting member. A music manager, you can be a voting member. An engineer, you can be a voting member. So it's a situation whereby it's a balanced situation, I'll say.
Okay, I get that. You're here with your instruments. We heard you when we were beginning. How about we just listen to you once more before we get back and talk about the new album that you're promoting?
Okay. So should we play our old song? Let's play from the new album. Okay. Maybe we should play Kings and Queens. That's the title of our new album, which we just released.
All right, let's play. Oh, we take a break now? All right, okay, let's take a break, and then when you come back, they're gonna play for us Kings and Queens.
It's break time.
Yebo.
There is no wealth without health, and it all begins here. And regular exercise. Your health show brings you an array of health information to keep you informed and healthy. Real people and real stories.
Kurasa wa wadi baada ya siku 2-3 nikapelekwa theater. Wakasema walitoa nyama upande wa nyuma, walipopima hiyo nyama walipata ni kansa.
Nasema wewe rafiki yangu sasa kwa umri uko nao kama hivi unafanya na mama Fumbo wewe. Uliyapata wapi wewe? Na mimi namwambia mimi mwenyewe pia mimi nashangaa.
Join me, Marie Yambo, from the laboratories to the theaters as we feature cutting-edge technology in healthcare diagnosis and treatment. Only on KBC Channel 1.
This week on What's in Your Kitchen, we taste taita kimanga, steamed rice and chicken adobo, courtesy of our guest cook, Dominic.
Chumvi, we don't put chumvi because there is this is our cooking stick.
Okay.
Now we use
I don't take all.
Just one piece.
Why? So you are cooking for me?
For the rest.
No, but you are cooking for me. You are not cooking for the rest. Achana na the rest.
Congratulations, Carolina. I heard that you and Danielle are back. I see that news travels fast.
All you know is how to create problems around you, and you know that. And I won't allow you to drag Isabel with you, is that clear?
That's why it's my obligation to attend to everyone in the same way, rich or poor.
Not everyone would have been granted a license that quickly.
That woman doesn't want me here, and she won't stop harassing me until I leave. In the end, she's immaterial.
Well, you broke your word. You promised me that you would not bring her here.
Amparo, please!
Oh, shut up, Arturo!
knows who we are. Kings and queens, who we are. Beautiful before the eyes of God. Who are we?
Kings and queens. Beautiful song right there, and the message is quite clear. You're talking about skin bleaching. Like, we should love ourselves as we are. We are the kings and the queens. We should not bleach our skins. That's what the message is all about.
Yes.
The inspiration?
The inspiration came from a young girl that goes to school in America. She's his complexion. And kids are very rampant sometimes in America.
Yeah.
In terms of manners and all that. I'm not saying there's good kids too, because my kid goes to school there, he's well-mannered, but these kids were picking on her every time. So she came and told me the story.
Yeah.
And I said, she's on the video, the first video of this. And we have a new one that is already in the album, this one. And I told her, you're beautiful. Don't let anybody tell you who you are, because I see there's a lot of yellow fever going on here in Africa. People are bleaching their skin.
You call it yellow fever?
Yellow fever. That's what Fela calls it. Yeah, you have to be proud of yourself. You know, the darker you are, the better. You know what I'm saying?
The blacker the berry.
Yeah, the sweeter is true. Right? Yeah, so that's the inspiration. And since I'm dark, I'm chocolate, but I love it, you know. I love the complexion. Yeah.
Okay, so the album has how many songs?
It has 7 songs. The first song is a song for Winja. Song for Winja. Winja was my niece, and she passed like in July. But she was she loved kids, and she loved doing a lot of. She was a taekwondo. She loved to do taekwondo. She was a journalist, and she loved to work with kids a lot. So we did a song for her. It's called A Song for Winja. And then we have Godly Love, featuring a very dynamic Grammy-nominated singer from California called Snook Nook. And she used to work with Timbaland and all those people, but she's also in the children's family music space. Kings and Queens is featuring the Grammy-winning group for last year's Best Children's Music called the Alphabet Rockers. So if you listen to Kings and Queens, it's featuring them. And then we have a song like Freedom. And then from Freedom, we have a song also, A Prayer for Children. And then from the Prayer for Children, we have a song, Learn Swahili. So basically, the album is more, it's more like dedicated to the children's well-being, and it's a little bit different. It's not like the way people think sometimes children's music is supposed to be like A, B, A, checka, checka, you know? So it's more like these children now, when you look at this generation now, they are listening to everything that is out there. You know, even music that is inappropriate for them to listen to. So if they can listen to those messages, we realize it's also important for them to listen to these other messages that are conscious and they're talking about their well-being. So it's a little bit different in that way, but we are excited. It was also produced by Mehdi. We co-produced with Mehdi. Mehdi is a very dynamic musician and producer. He's Iranian. And then we had also featuring Dimitris. So we have a few artists from globally. So it's a globally infused album, but also it's all about the vibe, the Kenyan vibe. Because you also have a song called Chapati.
Chapati.
You know? Yes, so just a vibe, you know. Mama nataka chapati. Hey, Vivian nataka chapati. Oh, Baba nataka chapati. Mama nata cha fa ti like those, you see?
Tell me you're Kenyan without telling me you're Kenyan. Nimbia chapati. Nimbia chapati.
Exactly.
That is amazing. It is so amazing. And I'd love to hear from Kolo. What is the best thing about this album, according to you?
The best thing about this album is the fact that it's a kids' music. The same way Josek has said, nowadays kids listen to anything out there.
Yes.
And you'll find on the social media, the type of music that is there, it is more with the negative vibes. So this album, the fact that it's meant for kids, it's the best.
Yeah. What about you? Ni nini ambacho unapenda zaidi katika hii album ambayo mmerelease sasa hivi?
Yeah. Unajua ni poa kuentertain watoi pia. Pia watoi ni watu kama sisi. Utakuta muziki mingi zinaenda kwa watu wakubwa, kwa vijana. Lakini watoi ukiangalia hata katuni zote ni za wazungu.
Katuni za Kiafrika ni kidogo sana.
Lazima watu promote pia. Tujipromote sisi kwanza, sisi ndio age. Tujipromote, watu ina wapate ile kitu. Wasome hapo.
Ukweli kabisa, and I really agree with you on that. Na umesema ndo nikafikiria, by the way, all the cartoons I see. Wow. Okay. And I love that. You know, it just shows that music is a whole big spectrum. I mean, there's a lot to it. The fact that you guys have decided to now, like, I don't know if it's automatic, you've generally decided this is what you'll be doing, like you've narrowed down your music and now you're doing music for children. This is something we don't see as much here in the country, because I feel most artists don't really look at, okay, who can I specify my music to? You know, it feels like we just chuck music. Yeah,
the only time you realize that is when you have kids. That's when you realize what you want them to listen to, because you want to control what they consume. You know, we're not saying that we are very versatile musicians, but we felt like, number one, the thing that inspired us to do a lot of these children's, the second children album, is because we toured America and did almost 600 schools when you're promoting a Sabu Moja Mbili, middle schools. And we were amazed to see, we go into a 45 minutes assembly, we do our performance, and we come from that 45 minutes, these kids are speaking Swahili and they're singing Swahili. They're not Kenyan children, they're not African kids, of course. So, and then I looked back, you reflect back to our country and the continent, most of the time we realize, like, we don't value that so much. So if you can teach Wazungu children within 45 minutes they're speaking Swahili, why can't we do that to our own kids? So when we came back, we relocated, that became one of the visions that we want to achieve here, in the sense that there's so many artists here, there's so many creatives that are doing content, but they forget that the family space needs also music that can inspire these kids, because sometimes they don't have anything to listen to in their genre. They end up listening to all these other vibes that are not necessarily very good to their ears. So we realize we have to do something about our own, where we come from. Charity begins at home. So I said, we got to come teach our children the language. It's important for them to speak their mother tongue. It's important for them to know these stories. We should not, like as Justo said before, we should not start screaming when Disney has grabbed one of our phrases or one of our stories. We have so many stories like those. I'm not saying what Disney did was right, but also we have to make sure we have that story before it gets to Disney, because there's so many stories. All of this, Embe, Umbe, Brikicho, all those things were very important. They came from somewhere, and they kept our kids where they're supposed to be. As you know, our society, kids had their own space. But now with this digital, with the gadgets and stuff, we have to be very careful with what our kids listen to. And that's why we're trying to create this content in this space.
Because sometimes society forget kids are little human beings.
Yes, they are.
If you mess up in your house, what they see is who they become.
They feed off what they see.
If you do some positive or negative, they'll become that until a certain age. Sometimes parenting, and sometimes They leave kids, they think school is where the kids going to learn. Charity begins at home, you see? Yeah. So it's always good also for the kids to identify with our staff. What I'm saying with our staff, from our culture is a way of life. I'm not saying culture for somebody to go wear feathers or walk with the skin. But if the skin, if you're comfortable in it, why not? Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. You don't have to wait for Hollywood to come to tell us this is not right, this is wrong. Just the other day you guys saw, what's this chart-busting movie, Wakanda. There's no place called Wakanda in this continent. Sometimes I take a walk on the streets of Nairobi. I see books that I've seen people in America. I see more books being sold on the streets here. People like Dr. Phil, all these people. I don't need to read a book from somebody else to know like this is not right or this is wrong. That is their point of view. But our point of view is we have to raise them according to our ways.
Yeah, I get that. And it's good that you're doing music for the children because, I mean, this has to be said, you know, with the age that we're living in right now, the age of TikTok challenges and all, there's some music you see the children dancing to these challenges, but when you listen to the message in that song, you're like, what? Okay, of course, this child does not understand what the music is saying, but the fact that someone is letting them dance to that music, it's unfortunate. I mean, it's something we don't talk about, but it is unfortunate. So we appreciate that you're doing music for them. I need to wind up so that you can play us another song. And my last question is on support, because you're big on that. You've really talked about us, charity begins at home and all. Do you feel like Kenyans support their creatives? Because for the longest time we've had artists and just people in the creative industry generally complaining that Kenyans really do not support their people. They would rather listen to the Diamond Platnumz, listen to the Burna Boys, which is not bad, but how about we support our own first? Is, according to you, is that true, or? It's
there's some truth about that. There's something about, there's a peculiarity about Kenyans. Sometimes we think what is coming from outside is better than what we have. But also the programming in this country, we need to hire people that know where to find the real stuff, because these people are there. As I told you before, last week I was here with those kids from Kibera. So when you walk into these studios, you find so much talent. There's so much talent that is lying all over the country. It's not only Nairobi. We have to like be ready to venture and go in mashinani pia. There's so many artists that are churning out original stuff and good stuff that can be seen out there. So I think is also the things that we bring out when something is hot somewhere, we assume it's hot here, you know? Kenya is supposed to be the strongest market for Kenyans, you know? Tanzania is supposed to be the strongest market for Tanzanians. Nigeria is supposed to be strongest market for Nigerians. But somehow here in Kenya we have a little peculiar habit, but I'm not saying it's not. That's one of the things that us guys are doing here, trying to disrupt this market, this industry a little bit, and try to identify those different talents that we see out there. An example was with that Tambua situation. You know, there was I saw Tabu Susa was there. Octopus was there. So we try to identify these other things so that we can bring out this other talent that we can bring out to the fore. Same with Collins. He has a group. Yawezekana is also a solo artist. He has his own albums out. So those are the things we're doing. Coming with them on stage is not only a mentoring situation, but also is a journey whereby when you're going, they'll do the same thing to the upcoming artists and bring them along with them. So I'll say there's support, but the programming a little bit needs to change so that these guys can be seen. When I say programming, I'm tired of the same 12 songs running on the...
You mentioned that the other time you were here.
So you go everywhere, it's the same 12 songs, same 12 songs. Even the DJs, to be, you have to stretch and go look for things that excite you. You have to be a DJ, you're supposed to be like, figure out your own recipe, you know? Pilau ya Njeri, see the same kama pilau ya Fatuma, you know? So you gotta go find a way to cook up your own thing. And when you go cook up your own thing, go in there, you'll find there's so much talent out there. So discover that stuff. Don't play the same, don't be the same as the next person. So I would just insist, we have talent, enough talent to do the same thing the Nigerians are doing and the South Africans, but we don't support it that much. And whoever is the so-called gatekeepers, I challenge you, go find us new stuff. There's so many things that are happening in these neighborhoods, you'll be surprised.
Okay, we get that. Thank you so much for coming to the show. We really appreciate. I am more than honored to have hosted Jabali Afrika because I am a fan of your music as well. So if you can just wind up with your interview by you playing us something. Play us something.
Thank you. That's a song for a Winja.